It was the retail that ignited that passion in me. I founded the Joe Mercer footwear business from one store in Collins Street, and we ended up with 30 stores.
Was it a lot of pressure?
Unfortunately, there is a biological clock.
Was there someone with you by your side?
Well, actually no. And the idea that that's acceptable has to go. It has to change, and we have to change. I want to support Aussies and Aussie families. Matilda Life was founded on, first and foremost, the principle of proudly Australian made. I am dead against fast fashion. That brand is meaningful to the rest of the world.
I'm Elina Reddy and welcome to Foreign Influence. Today we're going to interview an Australian fashion icon and a leading retailer, Joe Mercer.
Everything's basically designed to be able to be washed, line dried.
Joe, thank you so much for being a guest on our show, Foreign Influence.
Oh, it's a pleasure, Elina. It's a pleasure to be here.
You were born in the north of England. What do you remember about your early childhood?
To be honest, almost nothing. So I was born in Oldham, and when I tell people I was born in Oldham, mostly they go, oh. I moved from there when I was not even 2, and I've had the advantage of travelling all my life to different countries. My father worked for Shell International, so we literally moved every year somewhere new. So we were in Holland, then we moved to south of England, and then we moved back to Holland, and then we moved to Canada, and then back to England, and then to Indonesia. So it kind of went on and on. So all this moving.
And there were very different countries.
Yes.
What was the experience like living there? Do you remember much?
As I got older, the memories become much clearer. But yeah, I have wonderful memories, and I feel, really lucky to have experienced all those different countries. I guess you start to remember when you first go to school and it all seemed new. So wherever I was, it felt new. I had to make new friends, meet
and how
new
about the language
teachers.
barriers?
Yeah, well, the language barriers. I typically did go to an American school in Holland, and I went to a French school actually in Canada where they taught everything in French. There was language barriers, but I guess as children you learn. I think I've forgotten it all now.
But how many languages have you mastered? Like how many languages did you speak?
Look, I wouldn't like to say mastered, but when I was young, I obviously spoke a little bit of Dutch, and I did speak French, but honestly, if you don't keep practicing, you forget. So, and here we are in Australia, and we speak English.
From our chat earlier, you told me that you went to boarding school at the age of 10 in England.
Yes, we were living in Canada as a family, and I think my parents realised that it's really tough for young children to keep moving, leaving their friends behind. It's really hard.
And you've got a brother as well.
And I've got a brother, yes. I guess my parents really prioritised education, and they felt that the best thing in terms of education was for me to have stability. And so I went to a boarding school in Kent in England. I was only just 10 when I went. It was an incredible thing in the sense that all of a sudden, there you are.
Yeah, your life changed.
Your life changes forever. In a girls' boarding school in the south of England, it was it's crazy really. But anyway.
But I'm sure it equipped you with a lot of skills later on in life.
Yeah, look, it really did. And I think some of those skills never go away, that independence, that knowing that it's really just up to you to get on with things and
make your own decisions.
Make your own decisions and be prepared to push boundaries and challenge things. And I look back at that experience, and I must say most of the girls who were at the school have actually had strong sort of careers, and I think that probably is a little bit testament to just, if you have to get on with life as a young person, you do get very focused and you do end up with a career. And we've done all different things, but most of them are sort of strong, independent women. I wouldn't send a child of my own to boarding school because I want them around. But I think
I'm sure it was great education.
A great education and a great experience for me, and also a different era. I think back then people sent their kids to boarding schools.
How did you end up in Australia?
My parents were posted to Australia, my father was, and so at 18 I had to make the decision, do I come to Australia and come to Melbourne University and maybe have the opportunity to emigrate here? Or do I go to university in England and follow that path? So it really was a choice I made. I did apply to, a number of universities in the UK, and I did get into the University of Dundee and Manchester University to do economics. And I wanted, so that was my backup. And then I thought, trial Australia. You're in love with this country, the big blue sky, just the beautiful landscape. I just loved it. And
for Europeans, Australia seems so exotic as well, with Great Barrier Reef and koalas on trees.
It was true. The kangaroos and the huge Pacific Ocean, and it's such a beautiful country and so very different from anything I'd ever experienced. So I guess, I thought, try University of Melbourne, see if you're enjoying it, see how you fit in culturally, and then make your decision. You can always go back to England. So that's kind of what brought me here. And I started at university. I got a job as a casual in retail, and I started to settle. I got a boyfriend.
So were your parents as well in Melbourne at the time?
They were, but they were planning at the time to keep moving around the world, yes. So they were. So I thought I was going to be here all alone. But it's a very welcoming country, actually, and that excited me at the time. It was like, wow, what an adventure.
We're back with Foreign Influence, and we're speaking with Jo Mercer. Australia is where you entered workforce.
Yes.
Take me through your professional journey.
Okay, well, I started, not professionally, but I did start as a casual with 3 different jobs. So I had all at the same time whilst I was studying. So I had a job in retail where I was, working at Myer in the Miss Shop department. I had a job as a house cleaner, and I had a job working in a bar. I was so busy.
And 3 very different jobs.
Very different jobs. I was really focused on.
It was never a dull moment.
No, and on maximising, as much work as I could get. For me, that was an incredible experience. I loved all 3 jobs. They were all so different. But in the end, I guess it was the retail that ignited that passion in me. I loved walking into a department store. I was in the Myer Melbourne in Burke Street store, and the smell of retail and the customers, and it was
the perfumes.
The perfume. Oh my goodness, I love the perfume. So yeah, I really embraced, I suppose, that as a career opportunity. So when I'd finished my degree, which I'd majored in geography, what's the relevance? But anyway, I love geography and economics. I just did the graduate training program at Myer and started my journey in retail, became a trainee buyer, worked as a sales manager on the floor, worked out in one of the warehouses. I worked in the marketing department. I worked in HR, employing all the Christmas casuals. I really had a wonderful experience.
How many years were you in Maya?
Probably close to, like in that early stage, 10 years, something like that. A long time, right from the age of 18 right through to becoming, quite a senior buyer. So it was wonderful. Then I had my daughter, and after that I founded the Joe Mercer footwear business, which I did really started that from one store in Collins Street, and we ended up with 30 stores. And that was an incredible learning journey for me, and a wonderfully satisfying experience.
That is amazing achievement. For a young woman arriving in Australia by herself, having 3 jobs, looking after herself, and from one store on Collins Street to 30 stores. Did you feel, was it a lot of pressure?
There was a lot of pressure. I was getting to a point in my life where I wanted to have another baby, and I made the decision to have another child quite late in life. A lot of people, once they've already had their family, they sort of say, okay, that's it. Whereas for me, it was something so wonderful. And so when I fell pregnant with Sebastian, it was like a whole new chapter opened for me.
So what lessons have you learned in achieving life-work balance as a professional woman?
I think one of the most important lessons is, as a woman, if you do want to have a family, just to think about it and maybe prioritise it, just like I think you prioritise your career as a woman. You think that through, you plan, you discuss. And I think you need to have that same approach with children because, unfortunately there is a biological clock, and I think a lot of amazing, talented young women perhaps just leave it a little bit too late and don't make it a priority.
Well, because people want to build a career, want to achieve something, and they are probably scared that if I will leave, then my place opens up and someone else walks in, and then I lose that time of experience and...
And I think that is a risk, but I also think you can absolutely re-pick up your career. And I think today it's better than it's ever been in terms of helping women get back to the workforce, assisting with paid parental leave and all those advantages. But it's because it's such a rewarding part of life. And look, it's not for everyone. Not everyone wants to have children. But if you do want to.
But what happened that made you make that decision? So what happened that made you realize that, well, I have to concentrate now more on my family?
Look, I was travelling overseas to Europe twice a year. I was travelling in and out of Asia 4 to 6 times a year. I was always travelling on my own, or mostly on my own.
It would have been lonely.
Yeah, I think it's lonely and it's a lot of pressure. And I definitely felt that I couldn't do both at the same time. And I had 2 miscarriages, actually.
I'm really sorry to hear that. Was there someone with you by your side?
Well, actually, no. So it was one of those things where it really puts in perspective the fact that you can pick up your career, but you have a limited time to be able to have a family.
How old are your children today?
So I've got a 28-year-old and a 13-year-old.
What are their interests in life?
So
what are the things that they like doing?
Well, my 28-year-old Sam, she's got a wonderful career she works for CU or Asahi, and so she's in alcohol. So I think that's been a booming business.
Especially during the last 2 years. Yes.
I think so.
And especially in Victoria.
Absolutely. I think we've all had a few extra drinks. And then my son, he just loves surfing. So he's very sporty, and so I think he wants to be a famous sportsman. But
of course,
what 13-year-old doesn't?
Of
course.
Jo, you re-entered retail, and you have a new brand, Matilda Life. What is that about and what inspired you to do it?
Look, Elina, during the second lockdown in Victoria, so it was probably June, July type timing.
Last year,
2020. It gave me a lot of time to reflect. I think we all reflected on a lot over that period. How wonderful family is, the importance of supporting Aussies and people locally. And so it gave me time to sit back and reflect that in this country, manufacturing has all but died. And yet I know Aussies want to buy and support other Australian businesses. They want to keep jobs here and they're passionate about it. I just felt there was an opportunity for a brand, a casual lifestyle brand, proudly made in Australia, where everything is manufactured here, to exist. And I knew that customers really wanted that and that customers prioritised buying Australian when they could. For me, it was a real sort of realisation that we need to support the local pizza shop. We need to support the local butcher and we need to support our local manufacturers, because if we don't support those industries, then they will be lost. And other advanced economies all have strong manufacturing as part of the economy. In Australia, it's very small. I think it's less than 6%.
These are frightening numbers.
They are. I felt that a brand was absolutely being requested by the customer, but who was providing it? And there are some amazing iconic brands in Australia that make in Australia, but they are at designer price points and less affordable.
Back with Foreign Influence, and we're speaking with Jo Mercer.
Matilda Life was founded on, first and foremost, the principle of proudly Australian made, and we believe in that right up and down the supply chain where we can. As an example, our shipping boxes have been made in Bayswater. Our stationery has been printed in Sydney. Our leather for our shoes comes from a very old tannery called Packers in Queensland. Our organic cotton, our cotton jersey, has been knitted in Melbourne. So as much as possible, we really want this product to be Australian. It's all made here in Australia, actually in Melbourne. And I'm really proud of that, and that really is genuinely supporting local jobs. Secondly, the brand will be sustainable, and this is something I'm personally passionate about. I'm dead against fast fashion.
What do you mean by fast fashion?
Where people buy very cheap clothing that they wear for a very short amount of time because it happens to be in fashion, and then they think it's okay to throw it out. And there's a whole industry that's enormous built on fast fashion where...
And when we throw things out, well, where is it all going?
Yeah.
And it's all going...
into landfill.
Yeah.
So fast fashion is the second biggest thing, I believe, in landfill. We're not paying the real cost, any customer, when they're buying a $20 t-shirt that's been made in a poor country under terrible conditions. It's then been shipped overseas, putting pollution into the atmosphere. People wear it a few times and then they throw it out. And the idea that that's acceptable has to go. It has to change, and we have to change the attitude. People should pay the real cost of goods. They should then take care of them. Our brand is founded on the principle of we are sustainable. So we are using 100% GOTS certified organic cotton. We're using compostable shipping boxes. We're using absolutely no plastic in our packaging. if I have to send a beautiful dress to someone and it's pouring with rain in Sydney, or then I do recycle just to line the box to ensure it doesn't get damaged. But we're just not using any plastic otherwise.
You're giving a lot of food for thought to our audience right now. I'm sure I'm definitely taking that on board.
I'm passionate about it. And also being made locally means our carbon footprint is less because we're not shipping something all around the world. So sustainability is at the core, made in Australia. And then the third thing I really talk about is just quality, because...
Well, I'm wearing your garments right now. They just feel so nice, and I feel very, very glamorous, but in casual clothes. And the pants, the way the cut is just so sexy.
Yeah, no,
I love
it's beautiful.
it.
Oh, thank you. I guess the quality aspect, there's no point in Australia trying to compete at the cheaper end of the market because we are more expensive. We do have a higher cost of labour than some other countries.
But people who work on your clothes have high quality of life.
Yeah, they do, and they're highly skilled. So we have focused on using very good quality materials. All of our materials are premium, and then we're using skilled craftsmen to make. People who've really had big businesses, have downsized, and they have the skill to manufacture and make beautiful quality. The pieces that you're buying are timeless essentials. You won't be sick of them next year because they're not trying to be in that kind of quick fashion market, but they're trying to be ageless, timeless, high quality, cost per wear. It will be good value, and you'll enjoy it every time you put it on. That is the principle of the brand. And it's a fair price. It's a fair price for the quality that you're getting.
I love the logo of Matilda Life with a smile.
Yeah.
So you're smiling to the planet.
If you said to me, what is your passion here? It would be, I want to support Aussies and Aussie families. Yes, we've got a really robust and strong economy, but a lot of that strength comes from, mining, education. We need to diversify a little bit, and also we've got wonderful materials here, and we've got wonderful diversity of population, this incredible mix of cultures and people. Why not embrace it and nurture it and use those skills and actually develop a robust manufacturing business? People want to buy Australian made product. The brand Made in Australia in itself has a wonderful connotation of beautiful, clean, big landscape, blue sky, kangaroos. so I think, that brand is meaningful to the rest of the world. We should make quality lifestyle product here. And the Aussie lifestyle is something that a lot of countries look to, and they want to be part of that lifestyle. It is just so casual and easy. We're blessed with wonderful weather, mostly.
Mostly, yes. At the moment, what does Matilda Life offer? What can we buy? So we can buy clothes,
So
shoes.
at the moment, we're starting with a range of women's clothing, including some beautiful linens, a denim program, and then 100% organic cottons. We're doing a small range of shoes, which made in this amazing factory up in Thornbury, very high quality, and they're made of really soft kangaroo skin, which is a byproduct of the meat industry and otherwise would end up as a landfill. But actually kangaroo is a beautiful leather. It's very soft and lightweight, but it's very strong. And then we've started with some Australian fragrances where the top notes are Australian botanicals. So that's what we've started with. We want to expand into menswear. Men have really got behind and supported Matilda Life. In fact, probably more so even than women. I've had men reach out and say, love it, love that you're supporting Aussie Made. And this is at the core of so much of our belief.
It's a great feeling to be appreciated.
Yeah, it's been wonderful. And then also I would like to, as a full lifestyle brand, we need children's wear and some soft home, so that they are projects for down the track.
What does the future hold for you, Jo?
Well, I guess I'm keen to see Matilda Life as a brand become a brand
Flourishing, yeah.
where Aussies know that they can buy something that is going back and giving back jobs and skills. So I'm really keen to see that get up and running. And then I really think, Elina, my little passion will be to move into, it sounds really awful, but like waste management in particular, and sustainability. But I have a particular passion around waste and what happens to it all, and what are we doing about it. The idea that we just ship rubbish off around the world again destroys everything I believe in. So, you know, that is an area that I see myself getting involved with down the track when I have some time.
Thank you so much for being such a terrific guest on our show, and at Foreign Influence we wish you all the best with Matilda Life.
Thank you,
I am
Elina.
sure it's going to be huge one day, and that one day will be very soon.
Oh, thanks, Elina. Thank you so much.